Alright guys, so we're going to dive straight into it. Here's our hydraulic throw-up bearing. Clutch masters. I should order that through IPG. And then in here, we got our rear main seal from Honda. So we'll go ahead and get these two installed. Try to get everything back together pretty soon. And then we'll be able to let it run and focus on the misfire. So I think I'm trying to debate on if I'm gonna just drop the trans or if I'm gonna pull the whole swap together. I'm not exactly sure yet. Probably best if I just drop the trans. That way I ain't gotta deal with taking everything back apart just to get it all out. We're gonna go ahead and dive straight into it and get this knocked out. Well, there she is. So I got the trans pulled out now. Go ahead and get that guy pulled off, get that fork out. Twin disc is still bolted up. So I highly regret, focus. I highly regret pulling this trans with the engine still in here, because that was pretty tough to finagle out of here, right up on the frame rail, because it's really tight in these engine bays. So I probably would have been better off just pulling the whole swap out. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this clutch out, get the flywheel pulled off, and get that rear main seal put in, and then we'll work on getting the hydraulic throw-up bearing installed onto the transmission, and then we should be ready to throw it back in there. I got the clutch off, flywheel here, clutch is all here. So just as I expected, there is no rear main seal. And for those that are needing a rear main, if you're wanting a part number right off the bat, give you something to screenshot. There's your part number right there from a Honda. Got that fresh unit. So we'll get a little bit of assembly lube on this to make it a little easier. It'll probably have to be tapped in, but it'll go in like so. So you actually kind of got to finesse it in there, get it tapped in. So it's not made to go in easy. It's made to seal up, so it'll be a tight fit. So we'll get some assembly lube on this guy and get it gently tapped in with a rubber mallet. All right, put a little bit of grease on it. What I done was took this little 1/4-inch drive extension and lightly tap all the way around, something that doesn't have a sharp edge to where it's going to damage the seal. So it's fully installed now. Went on pretty smooth as expected. Now what I got to figure out, I'm trying to find if anybody local has a new pilot bearing sleeve. So I'm assuming this got damaged on with pulling the trans out. So after you get the fork out, which is extremely dirty, this little pivot ball that the spring connects to allow it to move back and forth, you actually got to break that off. I think it's a 20, yeah, it was a 21 millimeter. Just put a socket on it, pop that loose. You can actually put a regular bolt in there if you want, or you can reuse this guy if you like. I've seen people do both. So you'll just slide that on like so, which I'll be pulling it back off so I can put my lines on first. And then you'll just run your bolt through there, and that'll be it. So the pressure, the fluid, the top section will be what they recommended, what Clutch Masters recommended, that'll be your bleeder. And then the bottom will be your actual line. So it'll be this one right here. So that'll connect to the throwout bearing. That's to connect to your clutch line. And then the top, there's your bleeder side. And then there's, and there's the side that connects to the throwout bearing. So top, and then bottom. Bleeder top, clutch line bottom. And that should be it. So once you push the clutch in, it'll push this guy out. And then your pressure plate will keep this guy from actually coming completely out. So it stays assembled. So this should definitely make my pedal feel a lot better. With running that bigger clutch, I might try to find me an extra bolt in here somewhere and just replace that. If I can't, then I'll just go ahead and replace or reuse the pivot ball. All right, so if you come in here, we got our new pilot bearing put in. Tap that in with a hammer for it to step flush. And in order to get it pushed back even further, I got a 16 millimeter socket, 1/2 inch drive, and it actually sets pretty perfect. And you'll take that and hammer it in, and that'll get that pushed back flush into the crank. And then we will be able to proceed to that, finish this up, and then get the transmission back in. So that'll allow us to put the clutch and everything back on and then move forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that tapped in so we can continue. There you go. It's all the way in. So now we can go ahead and get the flywheel put on. Get some red Loctite on the flywheel bolts. And get the clutch installed. We are making progress, guys. Go ahead and get this cleaned off with some brake cleaner after we get that installed. Clean the surface off. Should be golden. All right, this is the most satisfying feeling right here. All tightened up. Torque to spec. Tighten the flywheel up to 90 foot-pound with red Loctite, and tighten the pressure plate on all the discs. All that's pushed in correctly, and I got these tightened down to 20 foot-pound just because they've been tightened down before, so they might have stretched just a little bit. So I've done 20 foot-pound with blue Loctite, and we are good to go now. So we can go ahead and finish this up and get ready to throw the trans back in. So you got your bleeder on the top side, like I mentioned, and your clutch line at the bottom. So we'll go ahead and get this guy pulled back off. I'll throw some Teflon tape around this just to be 100% sure that everything's going to seal up correctly, because I do not want to take any chances on having to take this back apart for a small leak. So I'll get the Teflon tape wrapped around. We should be golden. All right, boys and girls. I ended up going ahead and pulling the front core support off, which is right here. Still got the headlights and radiator attached. Intercooler's over there. And I decided to go ahead and just pull the engine out. And I woke up today sick, like sicker than a dog. Still went to worked my 12 hours. I just got off, and 10 minutes of finessing with that, and she's bolted up. All that's left to do now is I got to bring my T-bracket mount down and bolt it up through there, to the side over here, for that area right there. And once I do that, I'll be able to put the swap back in, get all the mounts back together. The reason why I gotta do that T-bracket is because it'd be a lot easier to do it outside the car already. And then I'll leave this bolt loose. Sorry, this bolt, leave that one loose. That way I can pivot the actual mount, and then I'll tighten everything up once it's inside. So I'm actually gonna do a couple things before I put the swap back in. So in the next video, we'll actually be putting everything back in and should be firing this thing up and running on all 4 cylinders with no oil leak from the rear main. So that got everything taken care of. I got a new fitting right here from finishing lines. I was having an issue with this sealing up, and I kept turning that quarter turns at a time to get it to stop leaking a little bit, and it ended up messing the threads up on the banjo bolt. So I went ahead and got that replaced with a stainless one. It's a lot more tougher, and I felt really good sealing that one up. So Josh hooked me up with that. Everything is back together in here, brake wise. I was getting ready to bleed the brakes before I actually got the swap and everything out, and that's when I ran across that leak issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the brakes bled. Be a lot easier dealing with everything, and then we'll get the swap put back in. I still gotta remake this line right here. That goes, well, it's over here. That goes over to the radiator on the left side. What I had done was I went ahead and ordered some more holes. And instead of running these 90s that I have, which I got it set back right now. Well, that's actually still on the radiator. So instead of running that 90 and this 90, and the hose being a tad bit too short, is what it feels like. It's pulling on this one and pulling on that one as well. And it's causing it to leak right around here. So it's like it's not sealing up correctly. And you can kind of see some rubbing, but I've had them pretty tight and they still leaked, even with the car off. So I'm substituting those for these 120s. And I've already set them up, both of them actually, before I pulled all this out. And it's gonna come out perfectly to where it shoots straight towards that way, and then straight, and it'll literally be a straight line. So hopefully that works out as planned, and we'll get this thing back in the car soon. So hopefully by the weekend, it will be back in there. But that's actually going to be all for this video. Like I said, the next one that I will be posting up will be the swap back in the car, and the car will be running and hopefully driving. That's the main thing I'm going to be working on, is bleeding these brakes, like I said, while the swap's out. Go ahead and get that taken care of. So if you guys don't care to hit that like button, like I said, I'm going to try to keep putting content out. I just got off work. I worked 12-hour shifts, and it's currently 5 o'clock in the morning. Y'all know the deal. So yeah, that's some progress for me, especially during the week. Got the transmission mated back up to the engine, and now it's just take care of the small stuff. I actually got something that I'm going to order for this engine that I think a lot of y'all probably like. I really want to do it. I want to test it out and try it, only because it sounds good, and I know it gives you that power band. That right there probably already gave it away, but I'm gonna get those ordered and I'm gonna get them put in before I throw the swap in, and it's gonna be much more simple that way. I was always told to work smarter, not harder. So it's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, and catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.